Is the deporting of most of our foreign labor by the Trump administration going to make food prices go up? Wall Street Journal just put out a good video covering this very issue. Let's watch it and I'll comment as we go.
On the campaign trail, President Donald Trump promised
the largest deportation operation in American history.
But many of the millions of migrants that Trump wants to deport are a key source of labor in the United States, particularly in the agriculture industry.
We want a secure border, but we also understand that immigrant labor is important to agriculture.
There are plenty of people who would be willing to come here lawfully and do the work.
Here's a look at how Trump's immigration plans could upend agriculture.
So first off, we don't have enough foreign worker visas. The HBA1 visas or H1AB visas, which are the agricultural workers. There's only a certain amount a year and they're limited in scope. In other words, I think they're 5-month visas, so there's other issues with that. So this woman doesn't really know what she's talking about. Let's keep going.
In the U.S., about 2/3 of the nation's crop farm workers are immigrants, and roughly 42% of them are not legally authorized to work in the U.S., according to the Department of Agriculture.
Workers don't even ask if the food is going to go into a Republican or Democratic home. They just work to feed us.
Teresa Romero is the president of the labor union United Farm Workers. She says migrants often perform some of the most challenging and unappealing jobs in agriculture.
This is a work that is demanding, that is dangerous, that is very physical. There's long hours. Their workers are dying.
Too often the phrase, oh, these are jobs Americans won't do, is thrown around. Frankly, it's rather untrue and insulting.
Laura Reese leads the Border Security and Immigration Center at the Heritage Foundation.
So Laura Reese is 100% wrong there. Americans are not going to do these jobs. I'm an American. She is a 1%er. She has no idea what she's talking about. She makes $1 million a year. She's never going to pick crops. But I've been in the position working labor jobs mostly my whole life. And even me, when I was younger, I wouldn't have done those jobs. I had the opportunity to do those jobs, picking apples in Yakima, Washington, and the money they pay for the hours they want and the heat and the physical labor. You know, there's just too many other options for Americans. You could go work in a nice air-conditioned grocery store for more money per hour, you know, get in the grocery store union. And I did that too. She doesn't really know what she's talking about. She's with the Heritage Foundation, which is this Koch brothers run, you know, the billionaire Koch brothers run foundation that basically is just trying to get taxes cut for themselves, billionaires and corporations. And, you know, they wrote Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, which is the playbook for the new Trump administration, even though on the campaign trail he said he never heard of it, but he's implementing it, especially on his first 100 executive orders. They were all kind of right out of Project 2025. So that's another thing Trump just lied about. But anyway, let's watch some more.
Conservative think tank and lobbying group that oversees the controversial Project 2025.
If the employers are hiring illegal aliens, that's in violation of the law, and those aliens should be removed.
But removing migrants, like Trump has proposed, could...
So it's been an open secret for decades in this country that, you know, ag employers, meatpacking, these are corporations. They all hire illegal aliens. And one way to fix it would be to put them in jail for hiring the illegal aliens, but they're not going to do that because those are the big donors. And quite frankly, those are her bosses at the Heritage Foundation, the Koch brothers and people like that.
Significantly disrupt the food supply chain. Consider the meatpacking industry. As of 2023, immigrants made up more than 40% of all of its labor. And half of those workers were not legally authorized to work in the U.S.
Our labor situation is already in a tough spot in agriculture.
Russell Baining is the president of the Texas Farm Bureau, which advocates for farmers and ranchers across.
I could guarantee you this guy, Russell Baining, is a Trump voter, but he doesn't want to see all these aliens, illegal aliens, deported. Now, Trump said on day one, they're just going to deport the criminals and the killers, but that's not true. They're already standing in Chicago. They were waiting for workers at factories, and if they looked like they were from another country, they would check in their ID. Same thing in California, and deporting them, whether they had a criminal background or not.
Across the state.
If those type of products aren't produced in this country and the American consumer wants them, then they're going to have to come from somewhere else.
We are going to be forced to import our foods. And what is Trump saying about imports? Tariffs.
Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too.
The left uses this as
And I've said this many times, tariffs are a tax on the American people. If Europe puts a tariff on something coming in from China, that's a tax on the European people. If we tariff something coming in from Mexico, like oranges, avocados, all the vegetables that are going to have to come in if we deport all our workers, that's a tax on the American people. And if you think food prices are going to go down with us putting tariffs on all the goods coming in from Mexico, Canada, and China, you're kidding yourself. Or prices will go up, and up quite a bit.
as a scare tactic of your price of avocados will skyrocket if we deport illegal aliens is ridiculous. National security and sovereignty is a little more important than the cost of guacamole.
They're currently
So Reese there with the Heritage Foundation probably makes $1 million a year. So she doesn't care if she has to pay, $1 more for her broccoli or avocados. But regular Americans who are already squeezed to the point of bankruptcy will care. Go ahead and comment below. Tell me, what do you care about more? Self-defense and national security, or the cost of your groceries? I understand national security is an important issue, but for decades now, we've had foreign workers picking our fruit and packing our meat. It's not the legal aliens, or it's not the aliens, the illegal aliens here in general. There are criminals and cartel members, yes, and we should weed them out. And we have been weeding them out under every administration. I think Obama did more of that than anybody else. But if we're going to start deporting all the illegal aliens that are here, 40%, 20% of the ag meatpacking workforce, we're not going to have any food, especially at the prices we see it right now. It's all going to be imported, and it's going to be 30% more, 50% more. I don't know. Go ahead and comment and let me know what you think about that. Is it worth it to you to pay 50% more for your meat or produce to have all the illegal aliens shipped out of the country?
is a legal pathway for farmers to hire migrant labor. It's called the H-2A Temporary Agricultural Worker Program. Through this, migrants can be brought to the U.S. to meet agricultural needs. Demand for H-2A workers soared by nearly 65% between 2017 and 2022, underscoring agriculture's reliance on migrants for labor.
Plenty of other agricultural workers have followed the law. So why should we give a benefit to the person who has not followed the law, not taken advantage of that program year after year after year?
But here's the catch. The H-2A program doesn't really work for every industry since it's seasonal. So farms that take care of livestock year-round can't benefit from the program.
We hope we can get a balance and work with the administration to expand the H-2A program where the guest workers come in, but they can work in any type of industry, part of agriculture that's basically year-round.
But this proposition
See, so just for an example, the milking industry, cow milk, farms that just produce cow milk, because we're basically a monoculture right now. One big factory farm does meat, one big factory farm does cow milk. Not like back in the old day where a farm would produce milk, meat, corn, they were diversified. Now each big factory corporate farm just produces one thing. So a cow milk farm, to make a good profit, they need to run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And this H-1A visa program, the agricultural visa, I think is good for 5 or 6 months. So they have to, turn over workers every 5 months, retrain workers, and it just doesn't work for them. But there is a problem with it, as the American Farm Workers president is about to mention. With once they go year round, they're going to lower the salaries, and it's an issue.
and concerns farm unions.
One of the problems is that they also want to expand it to year-round and lower the salaries of these workers, which will affect workers who have been working for 10, 20, 30, 40 years.
Immigration has long been a key concern for voters during presidential elections, particularly in 2024.
The biggest threat to your unions is millions of people coming across the border, because you're not going to have your jobs anymore.
Nearly 82% of Trump voters said immigration was a very important issue.
I understand they're not citizens, but they've also been productive members of society, and they haven't been convicted of a felony. Can't we figure out a way to have a legal pathway?
Trump tapped Tom Homan to be the border czar and oversee the mass deportation process. Homan, the former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is a hardliner on illegal immigration.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
Trump and Homan both say that the deportations will accomplish two things. It will open up more job opportunities for U.S. citizens, and it will shut down migrant trafficking networks that might harbor criminals.
But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals.
We simply cannot sustain the numbers of people who have been let in over the past 4 years. So it is incumbent to get back to the rule of law, to enforce the laws that Congress passed.
Union organizations, like United Farm Workers, are working to educate members about what to do if a raid happens.
Just to comment on Ms. Risa's last comment, Joe Biden's administration worked with Congress, Republicans in the Senate, put together by one of the most conservative senators, a comprehensive package and bill to deal with immigration. But Trump and Elon Musk went to town, in other words, to have the bill killed because they wanted to use it as an election issue so he could get reelected. So don't give me this shit about, following the laws. Trump's an opportunist. He's going to do what's good for him, what's going to get him elected. If you don't believe me, look up Trump meme coins if you don't think he's going to do what's good for him.
Happens at their farm.
What are they going to do if they have a home on their name? What are they going to do if they're deported and they have minor children? Prepare them for the worst, and we want to make sure that they understand that they still have the power to defend themselves in their working areas, because without farm workers, without this immigrant community, we would not have an agricultural industry.
So what do you think? Will the United States food supply last without immigrant workers? Because Trump's going to try and deport them all, whether they're criminals or not. We'll just have to see. But if you like this video, go ahead and watch this one. See you next time.